Skylar, and Isis.
Okay, I want to start off by saying we're really excited to play in the postseason. I think obviously you know your goal is always to go to the NCAA tournament. We just fell a little short, so that's unfortunate. But I think that the great thing is the WBIT is a super competitive, a lot better than I even anticipated tournament with a chance for us to go and do something special. And I look back to 2019 when we went in and we won it. So that gave us great momentum, and we're a young team, so giving them some experience in the postseason, I think is special, and playing here in front of our home crowd. So positives to it, but if we're in it, I want to be in it to win it.
There are like 6 teams that were in the NCAA who are in the WBIT this year, I think. What does that say about, women's basketball and the shifting? Especially when you see a team like Stanford.
Yeah. Which so a lot more parity in our game. I think, coming from the Pac-12 last year to the Big 12, I think the Pac-12 had a lot more respect, honestly, and it was the premier conference in the country. I think the Big 12 was a great conference, but I think we didn't get as much respect in the NCAA committee as should be. I think Iowa State should not be a play-in game at all when I compare them to other teams that got in. 10th in their conference. So I think that our conference should be respected a lot more because there's really good teams. And some of our teams had injuries at the top and still performed well. So I was surprised. That's why this conference, these are all tournament teams. UNLV is a tournament team, NAU, us, Colorado, Stanford, really good, Middle Tennessee. And you saw Gonzaga, and you saw the rant from Middle Tennessee. Enzo put something online talking about that. So a lot of good teams, so very competitive.
You look at what happened with Stanford this year, and it was very similar to the situation that went down with Washington after you and that crew left, and they made the slip down, and now they're back in. How would you kind of categorize how important coaching is on the women's basketball side, and why maybe we see those dips for women's basketball, and we don't necessarily see those dips for power programs on the men's side?
Yeah, I think in women's basketball, you get 1 or 2 stars. I think it can completely change a program. And I think that it's very difficult. Like Kate Bay is a friend of mine, was my former teammate at WNBA. It is extremely difficult to go after a legend and one of the best to ever coach in this game. It changes the program. And I think that if you look at Kiki back on Stanford, I think they're a top 20 team. So I think that circumstances happen, players move, so much more movement in in college. So it changes things. And I know that Kate, this is going to be a motivator for them. And she's going to do really, really well at Stanford. It's just going to take a little time because it's different. And you're going to see the same thing that happens at UConn. When Gina retires, there might be slippage, and then it's going to go back up because it's still a place with so much history and tradition.
What do you think about playing in an AU in-state team you guys already played earlier this year?
I think that if you look at the matchups, I think there's a lot of opportunity for storylines. So, we played them, we lost them at their place, a 6th game of the season, so very early without Jada. And it's kind of good to now play them at home. They're a really good team, but we probably won't have Jada still in this game. We don't know yet. So, but I think that our team is much different than we were back then. I think we're a lot better, and so are they. So I think for us, it's a challenge. They're a good team, but we need to step up, and this is the time where you lock in, and it shows what people are made of. Because I think it's one thing playing good early in the season, or it's another thing playing in the postseason, and people show up, and that's when stars play. And so you ride your horses at this time, and a chance for us to get payback. What do you guys think?
I'm excited.
About NAU? What do you think when we saw NAU?
That was a really rough game. They did us really bad at their
They
place.
did.
So
They manhandled us.
They manhandled 6th game of the season. It was early, but now we get a chance to play them again on our terms, on our turf. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
What do you think about getting at least one more home game in McHale?
I'm excited. Excited to see the fans. My family's gonna come out, so I'm just excited to play McHale again.
ISIS has 30 people per game, anyways. Family, she's got a lot of siblings, so they all come. Or they split it half and half. That's 20 people. For us, it's 2 or 3. For her, it's 20.
Skylar and Isis both, how much has Adia talked about the 2009 team and how that kind of really set the bar for the beginning of this phase of the program? And winning that WNIT, and how much, I guess, do you guys know just about that team and that
You
experience?
coached here in 2009?
19 he meant.
Oh,
Yeah, dang, I was like, I'm still young, guys. I was very late out of college.
say I was 4.
Yeah, I don't know how old, but
Um,
I didn't
I
talk
don't.
about that.
Yeah, not really.
I don't talk about that a lot because I think for me, it's like the expectations and the standards are so high. So for me to reach that it's a great accomplishment now where we're at, but it's not what I aspire to do. So I have not talked about that a lot. I just briefly mentioned it was a great opportunity. It made this city insane. It really drove up our ticket sales. It drove up our fan base, and it was great for the city at that time. I think that our program, the expectations are higher, but I mean, really, they just got that way the last few years. So I think some people will be disappointed that we're not an NCAA tournament, but there's so many factors, and we're a young team. So I think even playing in postseason, because before I got to Arizona, this wasn't even really a thought, not even the WBIT. So I know that the standards are high, but I think that some people have to understand winning's hard, and there's so many factors that go into a program and a program's success. So we should be excited about the WBIT.
For the players, I mean, some teams choose not to go to a tournament if it's not the NCAA. For you players, was there ever any thought that you didn't want to play if it was an NCAA?
Not for me. I called it the after season, and we were talking about postseason and what we would do if we didn't get in the NCAA tournament, and so I've been locked in still.
Well, my foot's been like hurting really bad, so I was like, oh, like I don't know. But we made it, and I'm gonna play in it, so I'm gonna thug it out because I don't want to. I'm not a loser. I'm not a quitter. So
Well, that's
I didn't really have any second thoughts about it, but because I knew we were going regardless if we made it or not. So like in term, I knew we were gonna play in the WBIT. So I'm just gonna thug it out.
And I think that's important because it shows what kind of teammate you are. It shows how much pride you have in Arizona because a lot of people wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And so I think that what players don't understand is there are decisions that you make that you live with for the rest of your career. And I think that when you're somewhere, there has to be pride of playing somewhere, and you have to finish what you started, regardless of your transferring or staying. It doesn't matter. I think that there's a sense of pride, and you play for your teammates and you play for yourself, and I think everybody pays attention to that. So it only helps you. And I think that at this point, for her playing another week, she's
Yeah.
still going to rest her foot after. It doesn't matter. She's playing for her teammates and for Arizona, and I think that you have to respect that. On the men's side, this would not be possible. On the men's side, no one would do it. Everybody would be 1 foot out the door. So I think those are things I respect and love about female athletes and where we're at. But it's not like that in every program.
You mentioned Jada a little bit, that she may or may not be playing, and then what about Montea too?
Yeah, so it depends on Jada, like the state of her. She's been, same with Sky. She's been having a nagging injury. She's been out of most of the practices for most of the year, only just playing in certain segments. So she'll decide if her foot's well enough to play. But it's pretty much been like this the last 2 or 3, or maybe like 5 months.
For who, Jada?
Yeah, probably like the whole season she's been in and out. So she has to decide if she's willing to play in the WBIT. Yeah, Montea's not going to play. So Montea's out. Montea had surgery on the 14th. Oh, it's Friday.
Like 3 days ago.
Yeah, what
4 days ago.
what day is Monday?
Today's
Okay, sorry, I don't know what that is. The 14th she had surgery, and it went well, but she's going to be out a while. She has, a meniscus repair and some other things, so like she wasn't going to be able to play. I was optimistic, but she had MRI and it was not conclusive, so they had to go in and scope it out to see what the situation was. So unfortunately, she'll be out for a while, which is too bad. I'm really sad about that.
Skylar, you used the term "thug it out." Define that for me as it relates to your basketball life and things that maybe set the tone for that mentality that you have.
I've been in pain all year. I've been wearing a boot probably since November, like outside of practice. But I'm not the player that doesn't like to practice. Like I literally beg Adia to let me practice. Like she be having to force me to sit out of some stuff because I be in pain. But I say thug it out because like I can play through the pain. It's not like something that's gonna just hold me out. Like I don't want to play. So I've just been playing on it all year, and it hurts. But like it's not to the point where I want to play for my teammates. So.
Is there an instance in the past when you've had to do that kind of maybe put you in that mind phase that, look, if even when I'm hurt, I need to be there?
No, I've never been injured in my life. Like, this is so new for me. Like, I've never been, like, actually, like, hurt before. So this is something different for me. But I think I've handled it pretty well majority of the season.
Well, she has, and I think that it's not going to worsen her injury. So
Yeah.
I think as a player, you have to decide a couple of things. Like, do you play for your teammates? Do you play for your school? Because, like, it's not, she's going to rest anyways at the end of the season. She has to rest to rest her foot. Doesn't need surgery, and it could possibly, but
Probably.
we're at the end of the season. We're at go time. It's a chance to win something, and it's not going to risk further damage. So I respect the fact she does that because not every player would have decided that.
When you think about this time of year, you know, you talk about players thinking about the portal, all the rumors about coaching are out there. So when you think about that, what impact does it have on a program trying to win something?
Tremendous impact. And you hear coaches on the men's side talk about that a lot. You've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter, I'm sure. I think there's always rumors this time of year. I think there's always movement. There's always jobs open. Everybody follows all that stuff. And I think that you have to keep the main thing, and control what you can control. And as a coach, it's very difficult. And it's one of the questions that I asked some of my friends in the SEC. I said, when you were in this situation on the bubble, the NCAA, you went to the WBIT, some of my friends went last year. How was it? Some people said it's a disaster, it's hard. Because with the way our game is, the portal opens during it. So their portal gets extended, the people that play, but it opens during it. So as young people, if they're thinking about transferring, which every team is dealing with that, they're having to focus on this, focus on that. And that's why I think that you see a lot of teams tank. And I think, but what they have to understand is them playing their best at this time, regardless of staying or leaving, is in the best interest of them. And I think every school, including myself, I would look at other teams if people aren't playing or they're not, because you don't want those type of kids. You want kids that are like finish what they do, finish what they start, and they have pride. And I think it's a hard situation for a coach, and it's just difficult.
We saw in volleyball that one of the players didn't play in the postseason, and one who got the chance got a pro contract, you know, to start. So is that what you can kind of sell them on, that even if you're going to transfer, people are looking at how you're performing all season?
Yeah, it's not something I really talk about because I think that they're going to make their own decisions. And I'm not in the business of like begging someone to play or doing it because I'm a coach and I'm the coach to my best of my ability. And I know what I would have done as a player, and I know how loyal and how much I want to win, and that's important, and that's why I'm probably in this position today. So I think that whoever it's going to be, whoever's going to play, you coach your team up. And you only want people to play that want to play, and they are in it, and they're about it, and it's the best thing for them to do, too. And it's also having some pride in the program, and like Sky said, she doesn't want to be a quitter. Like, I wouldn't want to be a quitter. I'm not focused on rumors and this and that. I'm not worried who's going in, and who's not. Because at the end of the day, they're going to make their decisions. And that's their decision. So it's not something to focus on. And it is what it is. And, I mean, just like a lot of people are going to be in the portal, well, there's going to be, on the 25th and through whatever month, there's going to be about 2,000 people in the portal also. So it's just kind of, that's just the way basketball is nowadays. It's more like a pro league.
You've been with assistant coach Beth Shelby for a number of years at two schools, West Virginia and here. Just what's the influence she's had on you?
Just a lot. We were just talking yesterday after the selection show. She really had to fight to get me out of my JUCO because they were trying to keep me there. So Beth's always like had my back for since I was 19.
Long time.
Yeah, I'm about to be 24. So it's been a long time, and I just appreciate her and respect her a lot.
What's some of the best advice maybe she's ever given?
To come to Arizona.
Aw, see? Well, I think that also, like, Beth went to her JUCO and had to, like, stand up for her and really go at people. And Beth fights for people she cares about.
Skylar, how do you think playing in this tournament will help you and the other sophomores and other freshmen just continue to get more postseason experience? Obviously, you had it last year, but especially for the freshmen to get that postseason experience and feel of what those games are like.
I think it's good for our team because we're really young, and I feel like it's good for all of our younger players to get that experience that we had last year because I think it really helped us in the long run, like this year. Yeah. Like, we all have struggles and things, but I think us playing in the tournament last year, even if it's WBIT or, like, postseason in general, experience is good for our young players, so I'm excited that they get to keep playing. We get to play at McHale.
there anything that you're telling maybe the freshmen about how it'll be? I know, BIT is different from NCAA tournament, but is there anything you're kind of telling them that you learned from last year that'll maybe help them as you guys begin these games?
Ooh, that we're gonna be tired. That we're gonna be tired. Oh, we were so tired when we were in stores last year, especially because it was far.
traveled,
We
like,
traveled.
3
Yeah, we
times up.
traveled. So it might be different because we're gonna be here. But when we traveled to stores last year, oh, we were tired. The gym was far.
Like an hour from the hotel.
Oh my
across
God.
the country. That
Yeah,
was brutal.
we were really tired, but it was a really good experience. I'm glad we had that last year. We played on Ez and Ice. Got to celebrate them too.
And I think that also the WBIT is so competitive with all these teams that were in the tournament last year. Some have a couple injuries, or they're younger, or they were senior heavy last year, and most of the teams will be back. Like we'll be back in the tournament next year, and so will some of the other teams. So it's going to feel like a tournament game. It's ran by the NCAA. It's not like I think it's a step above what the NIT used to be. So it's going to feel like the NCAA tournament. So getting Lauren and Sky more experience, and Jada and Brea, and everybody, I think it's great. And then for Isis, it's a chance for her to go out and do something special and play in postseason. So I think it's good for everybody and good for the program.
Questions from PJ with the Daily Star. How do you think, for Isis and Skylar, how do you think having the long break last week has helped you prepare for the WBIT, and what was it like having a week off just to rest your
And
bodies?
spring break.
It was great. Oh my gosh, it was so great. I didn't have to set an alarm. I slept in until like 12. Oh, it was great. It was the best week ever.
Yeah, I feel like we all have a lot of like nagging injuries, so it's good just to like not do anything and let them rest.
Yeah.
And I think she hadn't had Isis told me, and it was funny because I didn't realize this. She's like, I haven't had a spring break in 6 years. And so I had the choice as a coach, like, did I want us to get better that week? Absolutely. I knew that this would probably be the situation, especially after, we lost to Colorado. I knew that we probably would be in the WBIT. I was optimistic, but just realistic too. So I thought having a team back for the week with like 10 days of practice when you don't know who you're playing is awful. They're not going to want to see my face. I'm not going to want to see their face that week. It's going to be like really bad energy just because it's always like that. Even when you're going to the NCAA tournament, it's a week of limbo, so it's really hard. They're tired, nagging injuries. They're mad maybe because of the Big 12 tournament. There's just different factors. So I knew that maybe people won't do anything for the week and won't work out. I think mentally to have that break was more beneficial than practicing for 10 days. So they actually had 7 days off. I think it was
No. We still had practice. We practiced on Thursday.
No, but you had a week off.
Did we have a full week?
Yeah, they had a full week Thursday. So having that full week, having a spring break with someone out of town, it was more beneficial in the long run. Regardless, even if some came back and didn't do anything, and most of them didn't do anything, they were honest. But the mental break of being gone is sometimes even more important than the basketball for this generation and where we're at. They were all living their best life.
What's the most fun thing you did, Skylar?
I didn't even go home. I stayed here. Probably lay in my bed and lay with my dog. Like that was the laziest week of my life. I actually felt like a bum. I didn't do anything.
I don't know. I just
Went out of town,
yeah, I
hung
went
out
out
with
of
friends.
town. Yeah, hung out with friends. So I just had fun.
She had fun.
For Skylar, last year you had a good postseason performance. Kind of putting it all together as a freshman for the WBIT, are you looking to take another step forward with everything you've learned from postseason last year?
Yes, it's another opportunity for me to get better, for me to get more experience, more playing time, just playing and getting more chemistry with my teammates. So I think it's a great opportunity for all of us.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the NCAA seeding? That's been a lot of talk the last 24 hours, how the seedings came down, the UCLA getting a number one over some other teams, USC getting paired with UConn.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great NCAA tournament. I think there's so many factors that go into pick it. I would not want to be in that war room having to make those decisions because at the last 2 weeks of the season, everybody's rallying, everybody's sending stuff to the committee, pleading their case. I think it's a really hard job, and I think there are so many factors. So that's above me. But I think that the main thing is we want the NCAA to be great for women's basketball. So whatever promotes women's basketball makes it the best tournament. And I think it's going to be one of the best ever. I do think I was surprised at some of the 1 seeds and some that weren't. And I did read some of it. But I think that it just gives you a chance to still beat people. And I think that it's going to be a fun tournament. Okay, thanks, guys.